One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insanewheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insanewheels, hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With vengeance roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Every freaking day, man. It's always a crazy morning. Let's get it. As you guys can see right here, we got ISIS Capitol attack plot foiled, as well as Iran responds to economic D-Day. And Alaska plane crash kills 8, unfortunately. Okay, so let's give you guys the chronological timeline of what we're going to be discussing this morning. We've got a lot to cover. Philadelphia police identified man accused of harassing people in the Chucky mask. Now, remember, a couple of days ago, we were talking about how there's this guy out there in Philly, and he was, harassing joggers. That's what the claims were. That's what the reports were, is that he was harassing joggers and asking them if they want to die. Yes, so we have update on that because that guy was on the loose. Guy was at large. No one knew who the hell this guy was. And so hopefully they have some sort of details. Then we have New York State Capitol attack, FBI details, foiled plot. Now, this is going to be the big one, obviously. It says a woman was arrested by the FBI after allegedly planning to attack the New York State Capitol building. Officials say 35-year-old Jesse Bowie was charged with attempting to provide ISIS with material. What? Why, though? So, furthermore, on this whole ISIS thing, the very next report is ISIS-inspired plot. Jesse Bowie arrested for plan to bomb New York State Capitol. Bomb it? I don't know about bombing it, but maybe. I don't know. This is crazy. And then we have new details. Pilot killed after helicopter and small plane collide in Pennsylvania. That's a story that we were covering yesterday. Very, very unfortunate chain of events there. Originally, we did know the pilot was killed on the plane, I believe. There was 2 people in the helicopter. I think actually it was the helicopter pilot. And then for the small plane, we unfortunately didn't have any numbers on that yet. We didn't know how many people were on board. We don't know any of that as of yesterday. Now, hopefully we have some update on that. Then we have Aisha Wahab wins California's special election to replace Eric Swalwell. Now, Eric Swalwell, as you guys know, the feds actually just raided him. Well, it actually happened on Sunday, but it was being reported for the very first time yesterday. It was breaking yesterday. Then we have federal agents seize Eric Swalwell's electronic devices and raid home. Now, obviously, we covered a little bit about that yesterday, but we do have some updates on the situation. Then we have Dover damage. Tornado rips through Delaware as storms take aim at the Northeast. Wow, man. There's just a lot of natural disasters happening. Then we have economic D-Day. Iran sanctions will be, quote, toughest ever, Bessent says. Now, of course, you know how the mainstream media is going to take this whole thing. Now, I have the objective, what Iran, not just at the ground level, I'm talking about from their military, I'm talking about from the IRGC specifically, what's their response to economic D-Day, and we have that for you guys. Then we have breaking, this was happening 7 hours ago, unfortunately, 8 dead after charter plane crash in Western Alaska, man. That's just terrible news. Then we have dangerous tornadoes in Long Island and Delaware caused severe damages. So we have the updates on that as of just a couple of hours ago. Continuing on the tornado, tornado hits Long Island, and it says officials provide an update as well. Then we have this morning as well, just coming out an hour ago, USS Abraham Lincoln heads back to the U.S. amid poor conditions for crew. All right, so that's what we're looking at for this morning. Real quick, let's go ahead and do our call to actions. But before we do, we got Sterling Wheel becoming a member, by the way. That's the best way you can support the channel, by the way. It allows us to do this Monday through Friday, but I'll get to that here in a second. Thank you very much, Sterling, for making it rain. Excuse me for coughing, by the way. I haven't even lit up yet. All right, let's do our call to actions. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it. And it's free to do so. You know what else is free is hitting that subscribe button. That's what we do Monday through Friday. And of course, we have members only on Saturday morning, man. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member starting only at $4.99 a month, just like Sterling Wheel did. And listen, we're not out here to break the bank or anything, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note, follow my Instagram right here at Ball Valve TV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as politics, all that great shit. Great way to get a hold of me one-on-one as well. And of course, we have a Discord server for all of you legends. Make sure you guys go in the description down below of any live video that we're doing. That is where the Discord invite is. And listen, man, it's a great place not only for the community, for the IWF, but also we break news in there, minute by minute plays. And then, of course, listen, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, well, then we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen somewhere. And, of course, if you donate to those, I get 100% of the proceeds. And, of course, we'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a normal super chat. Now, a little side note, we are raising money. We are raising funds to get ourselves well, it's not a new camera. It's a new camera to us. We're going to be buying it used because it is extremely expensive. So we're raising $2,000 in total. And right now we're at $145 out of $2,000. So we just started fundraising this a few days ago, whatever. And if you guys are able to help with that, it'll definitely bring up the level of the show for sure. All right. Good morning to all you legends, man. Thank you all for being here. Let's see who's in the building. I'm scrolling up as fast as I can, I promise. We got Carney Vanguard as well as Vanguard Critters. Good morning to you guys, man. We got Easy Frank and Sterling Wheel in early, by the way. Let's see. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well as Mr. Steiny. We got Gary as well. Good morning, gentlemen. Let's see. We got Steve Posey. Yes, sir. Good morning. We got OG Steve Easy Facts. We got KP as well as No Grow up there in Canada. We got Tootie Bug as well. Roll Tide. We got Charlie Rose. Good morning to you. We got So Loud from the Boondocks in North Carolina. Yes, sir. We got Mr. Jack Telcott. Yes. Happy Felony Friday to you. And hopefully you are having a blessed one so far. I definitely know that we are. We got Big Dan as well as Hardwire. Appreciate you guys. Good morning. We got Swaggy and 13. Yes, sir. And Hardwire 1%er and Richard Smith. Good morning. All right, let's get into the craziness. Philadelphia police identify man accused of harassing people in that Chucky mask. Now, we covered this a couple of days ago, and unfortunately, we didn't have any other information than just the video of what this guy kind of was doing out there. And then this guy was also still at large. So the last thing that we heard was the guy is still out there, and no one knows who he is. We got Mountain Woman. Good morning to you, by the way. All right, let's go and bring this up. Here we go.
We are following some breaking news out of Philadelphia where police say they have identified the man that you see right here in this video. This man wearing a Chucky-style creepy mask. And they say he was terrorizing women. In fact, you can see from this surveillance video, he is chasing a female jogger. Well, police say they have now identified him as this man. The masked suspect, they say, sought in the 812 assault.
There was a little bit about it, by the way, Steve Easy, but I'm going to be honest. I purposely haven't been playing it. Not on the aspect that it's just I don't care about it really. Now, if you guys are super, super interested in it, of course I can include it, but as you know, it's just going to be it would take up the whole show.
Near 15th and JFK has been identified as Zamir Hughes, 22. An arrest warrant is active. They say Hughes may have fled Pennsylvania and has ties to California and Nevada. And the police there are working with the U.S. Marshals to bring him back to face justice. So
I wonder how they ended up figuring out, like, that's the man identified right there. I mean, they have an arrest warrant is active right now. So they don't have him in custody or anything, but they were able to identify him.
So Philadelphia police have identified.
I wonder how they did that, though. It would be nice if they could explain that.
This man, they say, was wanted for threatening and chasing people near City Hall last week.
Me too,
Police sharing this photo of 22-year-old Zamir Hughes on social media, stating that he is wanted in connection with the August 12th assault. So police saying that those incidents happened early in the morning near City Hall at 15th Street and JFK Boulevard at around 5 a.m. last Wednesday. And during those encounters, and we'll show you this video again, they say that he approached several people while wearing a Chucky-like mask.
And then he was asking, like, he was going obviously for women. And he was, asking them, are you ready to die?
Here to antagonize them. And in one incident that you're going to see right there, he is seen chasing a woman down the street and continuing to chase her when she turns around and changes direction. So police say this man, and we're going to share his photo with you, was seen entering a Dunkin' Donuts in the 1500 block of Chestnut Street at around 5:20 a.m. He was refused service because of his mask, and then he left after showing erratic behavior. So police say right now there is no evidence that the suspect.
I bet you he was on some good shit too. I bet you he was on some weirdo dope.
Was armed, but say when he approached one woman, he had his cell phone in his left hand and he was holding his right hand behind his back, asking her if she is, quote, ready to die. So police say there is an active arrest warrant for Hughes. He may have fled Pennsylvania and has ties to California and Nevada. Now, police have previously expressed their belief that those incidents could be linked to a social media trend. Hughes will face felony charges, including terroristic threats, harassment, simple assault, reckless endangerment, and intimidation. So we do want to direct your attention to this photo, as Philadelphia police have just released this photo, they say, is of that suspect who is wearing a Chucky-style mask, terrorizing individuals and chasing them. Any update?
Hey, you too, Moto, and thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully you have a great Felony Friday as well.
We'll bring that to you right here on Live Now from Fox.
All right, so I don't know why I did that. Here we go. Let's go into the next story here. New York State Capitol attack. FBI details foiled plot. Now, as you guys know from the thumbnail this morning, as you guys can see, we got an attack foiled. So ISIS Capitol attack plot foiled. And this was in New York State. So let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what's happening together. And maybe we can all just embrace our fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We shall always embrace the process here at Insane Wheels. All right, let's go and bring this up, figure out what's happening in New York. New York. All right, here we go.
This is the U.S. Attorney for this Northern District of New York.
Can't hear him, worth a shit.
Honored to be joined by Special Agent in charge of the Albany Field Office, Craig Tremoroli, on my left. Charles Paris, Special Agent in charge of the United States Secret Service, is with us from Buffalo Field Office. Mike Nichols, Resident Agent in charge, U.S. Secret Service. Mike. Christopher Carrara, Acting Assistant Special Agent in charge of HSI Buffalo. Chris. Major Robert McConnell Jr., New York State Police. Major Matthew J. Skarkas, New York State Police. Matt. Sheriff Craig Apple. And great Chief of Police of Albany, Brendan Cox. Thank you for joining us. Today marks I would say, a milestone here in this district. It's been some time since anything like this has happened, but we wanted to announce the arrest of Jessica Bowie, age 35, of Albany, New York. She's charged with one count of 18 U.S.C. 2339B, attempting to provide material, support, or resources to a designated foreign terrorist organization, namely the Islamic Republic of Iraq, commonly known as...
Yeah, you're talking about ISIS. He has Iran too nailed in the head right now.
ISIS. On Wednesday, August 19th, 2026, Bowie was apprehended by law enforcement for her actions attempting to provide material support to designated foreign terrorist organizations. Bowie had plotted to use an explosive device to...
And just so you know, Bowie, a woman was arrested by the FBI after allegedly planning to attack the New York State Capitol building. Officials say 35-year-old Jesse Bowie was charged with attempting to provide ISIS with material. I'm not sure how those two are connected, but I'm sure they're going to explain
attack the New York State Capitol and the New York State Senators. The American people embody an enduring spirit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Values fundamentally opposed by foreign terrorists, organizations such as this one, and this defendant is accused of supporting. As alleged, this defendant was radicalized online and spread messages of hate and violence against the American people. Under the leadership of President Donald J. Trump and Attorney General Todd Blanche, the Department of Justice, along with our law enforcement partners here today, will continue to use every resource at our disposal to identify, investigate, and stop anyone who seeks to engage in terrorist acts.
I can see he's a little slow with the reading of the transcript, by the way. The teleprompter, I mean.
The charge against Bowie carries a statutory maximum prison term of 20 years, a fine of up to $250,000, and a lifetime term of supervised release. The charge in the complaint is merely an accusation. The defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty. The allegations in this complaint are deeply disturbing. That someone would harbor such hatred toward our way of life and seek to target the New York State Capitol and New York State senators, that's an attack on democracy itself, and one we will not tolerate. I'm incredibly proud to work with the men and women of the FBI and our law enforcement partners who identified, investigated, and ultimately stopped this defendant before she could act on her plot to bring terror to the Capital Region and the United States. I am grateful for their dedication, and the people of the Capital Region and across the nation share in that gratitude. Before I turn it over to Special Agent in Charge FBI Craig Tremoroli, who will discuss the investigation in further detail, I want the American people...
What's up, sick bastard? Shout out to my man, by the way. Good morning.
This. Today's announcement will have a chilling effect on anyone in this country who is being radicalized or considering acts of violence, and on our enemies whose governments support death to America. We are vigilant, we are prepared, and just as we stop this defendant, we will continue to disrupt plots and protect the American people. My office looks forward to aggressively prosecuting this case and delivering justice for the American people.
This guy is a perfect politician in that regard, or a government official, whatever. He's not necessarily a politician, but you know what I'm saying is straight up, just no emotion, just, almost so boring when you speak that no one even hears it, you know?
This time, I'd like to turn it over to Special Agent in Charge, FBI, Craig Tremoroli.
Let's try this guy.
To our First Assistant United States Attorney, John Sarcone, and thank you all for being here today for this very significant announcement. I want to sincerely thank our partners from Secret Service, Albany Police Department, New York State Police, the Albany County Sheriff's Office, and HSI. As the First Assistant United States Attorney said,
what's up, Stephanie? Good to see you in the chat, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday morning so far.
Jessica Bowie was arrested by FBI Albany's Joint Terrorism Task Force and has been charged by the Northern District of New York with attempting to provide material support or resources to a designated foreign terrorist organization. In this instance, that foreign terrorist organization is ISIS, perhaps one of the most vicious organizations that is hell-bent on murdering Americans, destroying...
Why can't they just better the audio, dude? Like, how do you guys have these DEI fucking hire audio engineers? For real.
...our democracy and disrupting our very own way of life. As alleged in the complaint, Ms. Bowie swore her allegiance to ISIS through multiple audio recordings in both English and Arabic. She clearly stated her desire to carry out an attack at the New York State Capitol. In her own words, as alleged in the criminal complaint, she said, quote, "I want to destroy as much of the building as possible and kill the senators while they are meeting." I want them to lose a lot of important documents.
Yeah, people can say they want to do something or they want something to happen, and they have no capability of actually making that want into a reality. Now, it'd be interesting to know, aside from just her words alone, what else do they have? Do they have evidence of, like, did they raid her home or something like that and they found a whole bunch of fucking bomb making material? Like, that's what I want to know.
As well. She continued, as referenced in the complaint, quote, I don't want to take this kind of risk and have it kill, what, 2 or 3 people. What good is that? The complaint alleges that she arranged to have an explosive device made out to carry this attack, even purchasing several of the required materials herself. She conducted surveillance at the Capitol at least 5 times, taking dozens of photos.
Now, that is definitely suspicious as well, of course. But I'd like to know where they come up with, like, okay, we thwarted this whole thing, right? Like, we foiled this whole situation because we raided their house, we found bomb making material, now we've got them in custody, blah, blah, blah.
Requested a gun she intended to use on any law enforcement officer who tried to stop her.
These are all her words, though. These are just words so far that he's talked about.
More specifically, according to the complaint, she said, quote, something powerful, but easy enough to conceal. So if the cops do get towards me during the operation, I can shoot back. As alleged in the complaint, when she met up with the confidential human source to retrieve the materials she asked for, she paid the agreed upon price for the gun, and when asked to make a donation to the purported bomb maker, she provided another $200. And I want to be
$200? That's a donation to make more bombs? $200 probably ain't going that super far with bomb making material. Just saying.
clear. She left that meeting with both items.
Okay.
Make no mistake about it.
So you guys caught her with all those items, or those 2 items.
Miss Bowie's alleged plot was serious, it was dangerous, and thanks to the partnerships on the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, it was foiled. This investigation started just over a month ago, and I'm incredibly proud.
Damn, they've been investigating this for a month now? Jesus.
Of the work of our team, who worked around the clock to accomplish this disruption and subsequent arrest.
It took you guys a month to get enough evidence to arrest this person?
Now we begin the process of working backwards to determine what led to her actions. We will continue to dedicate every resource to ensure she's held accountable for her
What's up, VC? Good morning, by the way.
alleged actions. We are thankful to do it in concert with our outstanding partners at the Northern District of New York, who have matched our intensity and passion with this investigation since its inception. As we stand here today, we're just weeks away from commemorating the 25th anniversary of the attacks on 9/11.
We know that. We don't necessarily need you to go down memory lane with 9/11.
Partners, we're moving more decisively than ever to identify, locate, arrest criminals before they can carry out their alleged plots. Since the beginning of 2026, this FBI has already prevented over 400 individuals from carrying out such alleged attacks here at home and abroad. This FBI is built to crush those threats and defend Americans, and we will. As I turn it back to First Assistant U.S. Attorney Sarcone for questions, I just want to be clear that we included an incredible amount of detail in this criminal complaint. But at this point of the investigation, we must stick to just those facts. We'll do our best to answer any questions you may have, but please understand this is a very active and ongoing investigation. Turn it over.
Well, see, again, I like to hear or see the actual evidence. Again, most of what he used as essentially as evidence on this was just hearsay, what she was saying. So, I mean, whether that's documented or all that stuff, that doesn't necessarily give me the proof that I'm looking for. I want to see that, like, she had like ISIS flags in her house. I want to see that she had conversations with these, whatever, with these soldiers in ISIS or whatever the case is. That's what I want to see. I want to see her having the firearm that they were talking about. I want to know about the bomb shit. I want to know about all that shit. But unfortunately, they didn't specify any of it right here. And they're not going to if he didn't do it right there. So they're going to loop around. So no need to actually hear any more from that because we actually have an update on the whole thing. ISIS-inspired plot, Jesse Bowie arrested for plan to bomb New York State Capitol. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we actually have some substance here. and figuring out what's
Next
happening
up,
here.
we want to talk about a big terror plot that was uncovered and stopped, thankfully, by federal resources. Now, this plot involved trying to attack the New York State Capitol. For more on this, we want to bring in our next guest. That'll break it all down. Front here of the program, Lisa Evers with Fox 5 New York. Thanks so much for being here. And yeah, Lisa, this is a wild story.
It is a wild story for a lot of reasons. First of all, it's just another sign that investigators, law enforcement, counterintelligence officials, that they can't let down their guard at any time. Now, the woman, the suspect in this, who's under arrest and she was expected to go before a judge sometime this afternoon, is 35-year-old Jessica Bowie. Here she is. These are photos from the DOJ and the FBI. She's allegedly.
Okay, so let's see what she's got a whole bunch of nails or screws right here in the actual bottom part of the cart or buggy if you're in the South. I can't tell what these other items are that she's buying from, like the little place where you would put your child. I don't know what that is.
In these photos, dressed all in black, head to toe in black, but which of course we know are the ISIS colors, ISIS uniform. Here she is surveilling the Capitol in Albany, where
that's not only ISIS uniform, but yes,
the state legislature holds all of its hearings, and she reportedly did that about 5 times over the last month. Here she is buying those supplies, and which included bomb making supplies, according to authorities. And this all escalated very, very quickly. About 5 years ago, according to the authorities, she converted to Islam. And then she proceeded to set up a number of different social media accounts where she professed support for Islam. But many of these accounts, there were multiple ones, according to the FBI, were suspended.
Yes, it is. This is the whole Jesse Bowie arrested to plan to bomb New York State Capitol. This is what we're on right now. Actually, as you can see, we actually made that one of the main headlines of the, not only the show, but of course we put it on the thumbnail as well. All right, here we go. Back into it.
Suspended because they violated the social media platform's terms of use. So we don't know exactly how she got onto the FBI radar, but probably they were watching her because they do monitor the social media very closely.
They said they've been investigating her for a month. For over a month was his words.
She was making statements of support, anti-American statements, allegedly, and this was one of the things. Then the FBI had an undercover, I guess you would say, confidential.
Apparently, she said that she wants to damage the building as much as she can, and she wants to kill as many state senators in the building as she could. That's apparently what the FBI's because they gave all this list of like what she said, and you can say and want and all these things, but I want to know like shit like this. This is more like evidence stuff, but still, this still doesn't show that she had like access to a bomb. Like what she has here, even if this was bomb making material, that's not big enough resources to be blowing up the entire state capital of New York. Do you guys know how big that building is? Like, really? I mean, this is what the building almost looks like. I mean, it's fucking, I mean, that is what it looks like. It's huge. Anyways, yeah, it's massive. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this little cart full of things. You got to show me more evidence, of course.
Informant that they worked with, who started talking with her, and she was expressing her hatred for America, her hatred particularly. She's from this region in Albany, which is the New York State Capitol, for the state Capitol, talking about how she wanted to blow up the state Capitol and how she wanted to do it not when it was empty and would just kill a couple of people. She wanted to do it when it was full of senators, so that she could do maximum damage to it. She also had online postings, according to investigators, in Arabic.
Doesn't she look fat there? Like, she looks huge.
And in English.
That's probably a white woman.
Pledging her support to ISIS. So there was a very strong connection there for the Department of Justice to go after the terrorism charge in support of a known terror organization, which of course ISIS is. Now, they also told us that she was radicalized online, as we saw not too long ago, earlier this year, in a case here in New York City, where 2 men in their early 20s were radicalized, according to authorities, online to support ISIS, and they tried to ignite bombs outside of Gracie Mansion, which is the official residence of the New York City mayor. So they stopped her. This all escalated in the past month, where she's meeting with this confidential informant. She's meeting with him undercover, and then she agrees she's ready to buy a bomb from him as well as a gun, because she said, I'm going to need to defend myself. And then they had enough to get the warrant and to bring the charge according to the these counterterrorism guidelines that the DOJ has for this type of thing. So she just completely I don't know what she was doing prior to 5 years before that. There wasn't too much information.
Man, I would like you guys to get into any more information about her. Okay, it looks like there is going to be something here. So give it a
On
second.
that yet, but they said she was very clearly intent on moving forward with this. It wasn't a casual thing. It was something that had been building, and that the same animosity and hatred of America and of our system was expressed over and over and over again. Now, Governor Hochul tweeted, put out on X, she expressed her support for the for the law enforcement, for the FBI agents, for this Albany joint terrorism task force that the FBI has. Which
Okay, I want to see what this is. So Governor Kathy says today the U.S. Department of Justice and FBI announced the arrest of an individual who allegedly plotted an attack on the New York State Capitol. I'm grateful to the FBI for leading this investigation and to the New York State Police for their work to apprehend this dangerous individual. Earlier this year, amid a rise in political violence and threats against public officials, we took steps to strengthen security at the state capitol and across state government. While there is no immediate threat at this time, we will continue working closely with our law enforcement partners to protect New Yorkers and keep, I'm assuming, I can't see anything else there, but to keep everyone else safe.
They have it in many major cities. The first one, I believe, was here in New York after 9/11, where they work with the state police, the local county officials, county sheriffs, and local police departments to try to deal with individuals like this. So there's always open channels of communication that are going on constantly. So then she expressed her support for them. And then Governor Hochul also said that there was going to be, that they're beefing up security in light of this, that they're not going to rest. I don't know if we sent over any of that sound to you if you want to take a listen to that.
We took steps to strengthen security at the state capitol and across state government.
She literally is reading out loud what she posted.
Because law enforcement intercepted this alleged plot early, there was never any active danger to our state capitol.
Okay, so actually it is a little different. I thought she was going to repeat the same thing, but it's not.
And right now, there are no specific credible threats against the capitol.
But that's it?
And then we also have sound, I hope we sent that over to you, of the first assistant U.S. attorney.
Man, these guys suck with actually giving us real, I want to get more details in this. And unfortunately, the media don't even got it. That's the problem. All right. So let's just go ahead and move on. We have to. We got a lot of stories that we still got to get through this morning, and we're already past halfway. New details. Pilot killed after helicopter and small plane collide in Pennsylvania. Now, unfortunately, we reported on this, breaking it yesterday. And with this whole ordeal, we didn't actually have the number of people that were on the small plane that collided with the helicopter. We do know that there was 2 people inside of the helicopter itself, and the pilot, unfortunately, died, and the other person is alive, and it is expected to survive. But on the small plane aspect, we never actually got numbers on that. So hopefully this gives us some new details on this.
I want to take you out to Pennsylvania. We're getting an update right now from the NTSB on a helicopter airplane collision investigation. Let's listen in on Live Now.
The general aviation aircraft, a Cessna 150, was on approach into the airport, on approach to the runway, behind a Bell 407 state police helicopter with a pilot.
What up, Wank? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
On board, and there was a collision that took place. Now, many of you guys have all seen the videos that have turned up online. It's very dramatic that shows the collision. So we see the outcome, but we want to understand why it happened. So we are looking at 3 things. We're looking at the human being, the man, the machine, the environment. The human being, the pilot. The pilots of both the helicopter and the pilots of the Cessna 150. Their training, their qualification, how many hours they have in their particular aircraft or in the particular helicopter.
Okay, well, that would be great. And yes, you should look for all those things. But it would be nice if you guys could just tell us how many people were on the actual the airplane side of this thing, and we could figure out who got hurt in this.
License, ratings, and certificates. We understand that the Cessna 150 pilot was a certified flight instructor, and we also understand that the pilots of the helicopter were on a training mission. There was an instructor pilot and a pilot receiving instruction at the time of the collision.
Damn.
The collision happened at 18:52. That's 6:52 p.m. local time. I will be joined by my co-workers at the NTSB, along with the Federal Aviation Administration, who has been on scene, Textron, the manufacturer of the Cessna, Bell Helicopter Company, and Rolls-Royce. We will all be here conducting a thorough investigation over the next several days. The first thing we're going to do in the next 24 hours, however, is due to the circumstances, the weather, and the disposition of the wreckage, and also the fact that this is an
Oh, interesting there, Steve.
airport. We have conducted our on-scene portion already, taken lots of photographs. We're trying to take that wreckage, remove it from the wreckage site, and take it off to the side where we will transport it to Clayton, Delaware tomorrow morning. Now, in Clayton, Delaware, there's an aircraft facility that specializes in aircraft and accident recovery. It will allow us to do a more thorough investigation under more controlled circumstances where we're out of the basically the weather and the environment. So the machine of the man in the machine, the environment, is we are looking at the technical aspects of both vehicles, the number of hours, cycles, the engineering aspects, if there was anything that could have been causal to the accident, and of course the environment consisting of the weather, air traffic control. I'm having a weather study done as we speak. From what I understand, the weather was very nice yesterday, so I don't anticipate that weather was a factor, but I would be getting ahead of myself at this time. I'm going to leave that to the weather experts to tell us what was going on.
He was making a little bit of a observation, though.
Traffic control. I worked with the air traffic control specialist last night to get ADS-B data, flight track data, flight profile data for both the helicopter and the Cessna, so we can determine what actually happened, what brought those two vehicles together in such a catastrophic way. I don't want to take away from the fact that we do have a deceased pilot, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and the friends of the deceased pilot. At the same time,
what's up, Charles from Down Under over there in Australia? Great to see you in the chat, my man. Great to see you. I'm glad that kangaroos are not hanging over or swinging on your internet cables today.
We have a good news story. The two pilots of the helicopter have survived, not only survived with serious injuries and are recovering very nicely. So I do want to mention that there's a good aspect to this accident, whereas it could have been more tragic on so many more levels. So with that being said, I will...
No, unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of information there. I'll allow a couple of questions, but I'm assuming most of the time when they do these big investigative press conferences, as soon as they're done with their top monologue, they really don't answer any other questions. It's really very, very we can't give those details out yet, and it's just a repeat. So we'll take a couple questions in here if there's any answers.
Is there anything apparent from what you've been able to see in the wreckage that could indicate something?
There's nothing apparent right now, but we do have solid witness statements saying that the pilot was working on his aircraft yesterday. The pilot's airplane was based here at Carlisle Airport. He's a local pilot. The aircraft has a parking spot down here. We do have witnesses that state that he was working on his aircraft. He was conducting maintenance on it. I'm not saying that maintenance had anything to do with it. That was just one of the factors. And then the pilot flew down south for a few hours to conduct some training. We don't know the details about that yet. And then he returned to Carlisle yesterday early evening. Okay, but in terms of the wreckage, there's no clues that we have right now, nothing that stands out. But again, we've just been on the scene today for about 12 hours, so we'll know a lot more tomorrow and on the following days.
Sir, when you said...
Yes, by the way, yes, we got to make sure we get those likes up, man. I very much appreciate it. Make sure you guys double tap the screen if you guys are on the vertical side and hit the like button if you're on the horizontal. I very much appreciate it. You don't have to like it for all these crazy stories that we present, every day. But you guys can like it from me and what we do here, so thank you for that.
The pilot was working on his aircraft yesterday. That would have been before he flew it yesterday.
Yeah, so you're asking, yes, you're restating the fact that the pilot was working on conducting maintenance on his aircraft yesterday? Yes, he was, and that was before he flew the aircraft. But again, let's not hypothesize. That could have been anything, but it is factual. He was working on his airplane.
Yeah, can you put that in context? Would that be routine? Like, do pilots always do some maintenance before they fly?
That would be a hypothesis right now. It's very routine to conduct your own maintenance based on your qualifications.
I would say, of course,
But right now,
a lot of people, on the private sector of aviation, they'll work on their own shit all the time.
We're getting too into the weeds about what he was working on. After we look at his maintenance records and do further interviews, we'll hopefully have a better idea of the kind of maintenance he was doing on the aircraft.
But obviously, this is not, private aviation we're talking about right now.
The flight path that the plane took, circling around the airport, going downwind and then coming down the runway, was that the proper flight path for going into this runway?
The flight path was unusual. But again, it's a non-controlled airport, and they were in communication with each other. But we are looking at the flight profile. We are looking at why the aircraft came in that direction. The helicopter came in and did a normal approach. It did what's called a hover taxi. All right, so a helicopter will come in, get in ground effect, and hover, and proceed to move forward, 3 to 5, 10 feet above the ground. And then when he comes off the runway, that's when the Cessna...
What's up, Crystal Kitten? Good morning to you, and happy Felony Friday to you.
Came in straight and level, suddenly increased its pitch, severe nose up, did a left turn, leveled off again, and then flew into the back of the helicopter. So,
Damn.
you know, right now we don't know the details about why the pilot was flying in that pattern altitude or in that manner, but we're going to find out.
How long was the helicopter hovering for when it got hit?
I don't know at this time.
Damn, Steve Posey, that's awesome.
Is it typical for a helicopter to be hovering that close to a runway?
Yes, the helicopter. Yes, he's asking if it's typical for a helicopter to come in that close and hover, you know, to a runway. Yes, the helicopter did a normal approach. Instead of doing an approach and landing, it did an approach and hover maneuver where it's hovering. It's basically taxiing forward, but in a hover. Okay, so it hadn't departed the runway surface. It was still above the runway surface when it was.
Yeah, we originally reported on this, Charles, yesterday, and then we've got these details right now to present for you guys.
But it's a very normal maneuver, especially for a training maneuver, to do what's called a hover taxi.
There's no controls tower at this airport.
All right, so it seems like that's going to be pretty much about what we're going to get there. Unfortunately, we're not going to get much more out of that. Unfortunately, my StreamYard is also fucking lagging like a motherfucker too. Aisha Wahab wins California special election to replace Eric Swalwell. Now we have updates as well right after this about federal agents seize Eric Swalwell's electronic devices and raid his home. And that we reported on that yesterday, but I think that we're going to have a bit more details on that, being that this is now 24 hours later. So originally, Swalwell got raided Sunday. Now, the news about this whole thing, about him getting raided, didn't break until yesterday. So go figure. But nonetheless, it broke to the media yesterday, and now we have updates on it. So anyways, here we go.
Welcome back in the Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Anna Marsick. As we gear up for the midterm elections, we are following some breaking news right now as Democrat Aisha Wahab has won the election to U.S. House in California's 14th Congressional District. AP race calls putting this out at 6:43 p.m. Eastern time there. So we know Aisha Wahab, a progressive Democratic state senator, defeated Melissa Hernandez, a moderate Democrat, in a special election to replace Eric Swalwell of California. That is according to the Associated Press. Mr. Swalwell, of course, abruptly resigned in April amid accusations of sexual misconduct. Ms. Wahab was widely seen as the frontrunner to represent California's 14th congressional district after she won the June primary for the race with 43% of the vote. But this week's election results were far tighter, and the race was too close to call for 2 days as local officials continue to count those ballots until today. In the closing days of the race, several super PACs, including two with ties to the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, spent millions on advertisements on television and social media targeting the district's voters in the suburbs east of
I'd like to know her voters.
San Francisco.
Or, her donors, not voters. I want to know her donors.
But of course, this news coming in today, once again, Aisha Wahab in the special election to replace Eric Swalwell of California. And some other news regarding Eric Swalwell just coming in today as we learned that agents seized devices from ex-rep Eric Swalwell in sexual misconduct probe, according to AP sources. And they also searched his Washington home as part of the investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct by the ex-Democratic congressman from California, according to a person familiar with the matter there. Swalwell's devices were seized at the San Francisco airport on Saturday, and agents...
I misquoted. I thought it happened on Sunday, but she actually said right there it happened on Saturday was the actual raid. So I correct myself for the record.
Executed a search warrant at his home a day later, saying the person, who is not authorized to publicly discuss an ongoing investigation, and spoke on the condition of anonymity. Once again, that news coming in today, and just this coming from Matt Finn, saying Eric Swalwell's iPhone and MacBook were seized by the feds at 8:25 p.m. on Saturday, according to a federal warrant inventory source. Tells Fox it happened at the San Francisco airport. Wanted to be sure to bring you all of those updates here. But once again, that big headline coming in as Aisha Wahab wins the California special election to replace Eric Swalwell.
Wow. All right, so let's go ahead and get the updated information on this. Federal agent sees Eric Swalwell's electronic devices and raid home. Now, we obviously already knew that, but it looks like that they actually have some sort of other details. If they just have somebody on here just to talk about it, then we'll just move on.
You're watching Live Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Federal agents seized electronic devices from former Congressman Eric Swalwell and searched his Washington home as part of an investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct. We have learned that agents seized those electronic devices belonging to Swalwell at SFO over the weekend. And then they subsequently searched that home in Washington, D.C. Let's check in with KTVU's Jana Katsuyama. She has been looking into the court documents. She joins us live with details. What are you?
Well, because she is the actual reporter, part of Fox, I will hear her report on it.
Well, here in our newsroom at KTVU, we've been looking at some documents from the U.S. District Court of Northern California. And what it shows is that this search warrant was basically requested on August 13th, and then it was executed on Saturday at San Francisco International Airport.
Damn.
At 8:25 p.m. The details, though, as to why federal officials were looking for these devices is sealed. At SFO on Saturday,
You be safe out there, Brother Steve Easy. We'll see you on the flip
federal
side.
agents stopped former Congressman Eric Swalwell and executed a search warrant. Court documents from the U.S. District Court of Northern California showed the request was filed August 13th, and federal agents seized one Apple iPhone as well as one Apple MacBook Pro laptop computer. The name on the receipt.
That's it? That's, well, I mean, I guess that's all you need. That's all the information that you're going to get is a phone and a laptop.
Showing Eric Swalwell. Federal agents also searched Swalwell's home in Washington, D.C. the next day, Sunday, as part of an investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct. Swalwell resigned from Congress in April following allegations by one woman accusing him of sexual assault in a New York hotel in 2024. The Manhattan District Attorney has opened an investigation. 3 other women accused him of sexual misconduct for sending explicit messages and photos. And another woman, Lana Drews of California, accused Swalwell of raping her in 2018.
I remember this accusation.
Attorney for Drews sent this statement saying, quote, "We are encouraged to learn about the escalation of the FBI's investigation into the allegations against Eric Swalwell. We will continue to cooperate with any and all law enforcement agencies pursuing this matter in our fight for justice." The search warrant documents cite a federal statute, Title 18, Section 242.
This particular statute is a civil rights statute which allows the federal government to investigate criminal behavior on the part of officials, whether federal, state, local, who are basically abusing their power. So if they hurt somebody, sexual abuse is part of it. There could be other.
But Rabbit of Chaos, not to be confused with other things. So that there was the whole Ling Ling thing or whatever. I forget her name. Fang. Anyways, she's supposed to be like some Chinese spy. But then there was also those allegations from 2018 from that woman. So just some context there.
Kinds of crimes. So basically, by using their
What's up,
power
Carrie?
as
Good
an
morning.
official.
And UC Law San Francisco professor David Levine, speaking there, said it is notable that they used these search warrants in such a public manner, both at the airport and at his home. He says typically they would be issued as subpoenas, especially in a case where there's little flight risk. And in this case, there has been no indictment. Mr. Swalwell was not arrested at all. So that is something that he noted.
Has he made any statements about this situation?
I reached out to both Eric Swalwell and his attorney. So far, I haven't heard anything, but we do want to note that throughout the entire process of these allegations coming out, Swalwell has consistently said that he is not guilty of any of these charges.
Jana Katsuyama with KTV.
Yep, that's all right. Well, that gives us an update there. We don't need to get into it with another person just giving their opinion about it. Dover damage. A tornado rips through Delaware as storms take aim at Northeast. Let's go ahead and bring this up. And also, you know what we haven't done yet? We haven't done the money part. Let's just do that real quick.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
As you may or may not know, we are raising funds for a new camera. As you guys can see, we're trying to upgrade the set. And of course, this camera that we're raising funds for is going to be a used camera because it's super fucking expensive. So we always appreciate you guys, and anybody that don't like it, well,
motherfucker talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what is happening here.
You're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. We're just getting images in right now. This is a live vantage point.
This is from last night, by the way.
On the ground at a scene of a storm situation. It's being called a possible tornado. We don't have that confirmed. It's up to weather officials to make those types of things official. Usually how they confirm that a tornado has touched down is they have to go through the area after the fact. They have to survey the damage, and that'll tell them if a tornado went through the area and how powerful a tornado it was. Obviously, it's too early in the process for them to have any kind of grip on that information yet. But we're getting preliminary reports that there was a possible touchdown of a tornado in Dover, Delaware. Again, we will wait for official confirmation.
Now, even though they say They're waiting for confirmation. Because this happened last night. We have the update just 3 hours ago. It says dangerous tornadoes in Long Island and Delaware caused severe damage. So they are being officially called in both locations tornadoes. And we also, after all of that, after we get into economic D-Day and what that actually entails, so there's an update from officials. Tornado hits Long Island. Officials provide updates. So we have all of this shit for you guys. Anyways, let's go ahead and just skim through a little bit and see if we can get any of the damage here, like these images right here. I want to see. We'll scroll through a little bit, hear a little bit from the interviews or whatever, and then we'll try to push our way through because we're already running late.
Some power outages. We know a lot of the power in this area and throughout Dover, Delaware has been affected. There were people inside the Super Lodge when what is believed to have been a tornado.
Man, her fucking audio sucks. Let's see if we can get to the interview.
So, Randall, can you tell us a little bit about your story? So you have stayed here at the Super Lodge. You were not here when the tornado came through.
Right. I wasn't here, but I've been here for 9 months. I lost my house a couple years ago, but God made a way for me to find a job to stay here. And I've been here ever since.
So you were at work when this happened, and you actually thought about not going into work today, and now you're feeling fortunate that you weren't around.
Yes, I'm glad I went in because my teeth was hurting. I took Advil to subdue the pain, and I went to work.
Yeah, I can tell his teeth hurt. I can tell the lack of teeth would be painful.
10 hours, got a notification around 4:45 saying there's a tornado in Fort Kent. I wasn't expecting to see nothing like that at all.
My man, Hillbilly Hank, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far. I definitely know that we are.
Yeah, so when you returned here, I mean, you have a unit. So, I had asked you earlier, did you lose anything? Were your items affected?
Nah, none of my items were affected, but it's kind of odd that my room is not even touched. Like, everything's not broken. Like, the whole room's been, like, secured by God, Yahushua.
So this is just one location of this. It looks like a hotel or something like that, but nonetheless, let's go and see if they have any other stories in the region. Let's see. We got a little bit of images here. Let's see. Tornado incoming. Time-lapse video shows a tornado moving over Dover, Delaware. Officials are reporting significant damage throughout parts of the city, including numerous downed trees, flooding, and other storm-related damage. Damn, man. Let's see what it looks like.
There's no audio attached to this.
Oh, that motherfucker sucks.
So it's just looped back to the beginning there.
Yep.
But
look how it
you
forms.
can see a
like
little
that.
bit of the rotation there. And certainly, as more time passes, it's possible that we'll get more visual of the storm.
We will get more visual here in a little bit. I can almost guarantee it. Okay, so let's go ahead and we don't need to do the weather thing because it already happened. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. We'll get back to the update on that, but we do everything chronologically here of when it came out until current time. So let's go into this quickly. Economic D-Day, Iran sanctions will be, quote, toughest ever, Besant says. Well, here's the thing. We have this, obviously, we on the title says Iran responds to economic D-Day. Now, unfortunately, the mainstream media didn't give too many details on this, but I have it in the aspect that I actually researched it. So it says here, Iran's response has been openly defiant and now includes a military warning. But Tehran has not announced a specific retaliatory strike solely in response to economic D-Day. Okay, so here's the complete breakdown as of today, August 21st. Iran says the campaign will fail. Foreign Minister Abbas dismissed Trump's announcement as a distraction from America's own debt and rising interest costs. He argued that intensifying sanctions would only produce another American failure and deepen hostility towards the United States. Foreign Minister Abbas also characterized the policy as economic terrorism that threatens both the global economy and the sovereignty of countries being pressured to stop trading with Iran. That coming out from Jerusalem Post. Then we have number two, Iran threatened a devastating response here. Now it says Major General Ali, and I can't say his last name, I can't pronounce it, Chief of Staff of Iran's armed forces, issued the strongest warning. He said Iran was prepared across land, sea, air defense, and cyberspace. He promised, quote unquote, crushing punishing, and devastating responses to new American threats. Iran did not specify whether that means attacks on U.S. forces, Gulf infrastructure, ships on Hormuz, or cyber attacks. That came out from Reuters. Then we have right here, number 3, the IRGC warned about more destructive weapons. An IRGC spokesman claimed Iran would use significantly more destructive missile warheads if another major military confrontation begins. That appears intended as deterrence. Tehran is warning Washington that economic pressure accompanied by renewed military action could trigger a larger Iranian response than previous rounds of fighting. And it also says here, Iran says America failed militarily. Parliament Speaker Mohammed, who is also Iran's lead negotiator in mediated talks, argued that United States and Israel moved toward economic warfare because they could not defeat Iran through direct military confrontation. He described the sanctions campaign as both economic and cognitive warfare, meaning Iran believes Washington is trying to damage the economy while simultaneously convincing the Iranian population that its government cannot survive. And that coming out from Reuters. Now, anyways, we'll go ahead and leave it at that so that you guys understand that those were essentially the responses here. But let's go ahead and see what Besant has to say about this quickly.
It's about this time last night when we were reporting about President Trump's post on social media saying that the U.S. shortly here will be implementing new sanctions on the country of Iran. The U.S., according to Secretary Scott Bessent, says they're going to be imposing the, quote, toughest sanctions in history. Also, Bessent is urging China to cooperate with the United States on this venture. Bessent told CNBC, quote, we are going to have the toughest sanctions in history, and, quote, it is going to work in Iran, and we are going to collapse this regime. Bessent did step up to the White House stakeout cam a little bit earlier today. We'll play out some of his remarks a little bit later. First, I want to check in with Cliff May. He's the founder and president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Cliff, do you expect that the toughest sanctions in history, which we still are...
It's very rare to get Cliff on here from the FDD. Usually the FDD guys, he sends his other people, but it's interesting that he's on this one.
Waiting to learn a little bit more about what exactly that means. But do you expect that these sanctions could be enough to actually move the needle in Iran?
Well, let me put it this way, Austin. I think we're talking about sanctions is a nice way to discuss this. What we're really talking about is the economic strangulation, the economic collapse of the regime in Iran. I think that's what Bessent has in mind. He's talking about sanctions at a time when we also have a blockade that does not allow the regime in Iran to sell oil. Oil is really their only resource. About 90% of that oil comes from Karg Island. It's not where it originates, but it goes to Karg Island, and then ships are meant to dock there.
Yes, and that's where they ship it out, refine,
and load up. They're not doing that now. People say we should bomb Karg Island. You don't necessarily have to, as long as no ships can dock there and load up. And that's what the U.S. Navy is doing. So it's an economic strangulation campaign. Sanctions also mean something else that I think Secretary Bessent is not quite saying, not because he doesn't know, because it's secondary sanctions as well as primary sanctions.
Right.
In other words, he's saying to our
it's another layer of sanctions.
Allies and others, if you're buying oil and if you're preventing the economic collapse, you're helping this country, we are going to sanction you. You need to trade with us, or if you don't, you don't have to, but we're not going to trade with you if you're not helping in this effort. Particularly, I think, towards our allies. They need to be helping. President Trump has been very clear on that. He's been disappointed with some. Where I just may disagree a little bit with Scott Bessent, he says we're going to see if we can get China to help. I don't think China wants to help. China has been supporting Tehran in many, many ways. On the other hand, China does need oil, and the Middle East is where it gets it.
Well, you got to remember that China buys 80% of Iran's oil. Okay, so they're the massive purchaser of it. So anyways, let's go on, because we already got into all of that. Let's just go ahead and move on. We got, unfortunately, 8 dead after a charter plane crash in western Alaska happening early this morning, actually. Happened 8 hours ago. So let's go and bring this up and figure out what the hell is going on with this.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. I'm Jay Russell. I want to bring you some devastating news coming out of western Alaska tonight. What we know as of right now, a plane crash has taken place, killing all on board. Let me take you to a tweet coming from Reuters saying that 8 people died after a charter plane crashed at a remote military radar site in western Alaska on August 20th, the U.S. military's Alaskan command said. Now, let's go ahead and take a live look right now in Western Alaska. This is currently what it looks like right here. I'm going to read some copy from the Associated Press that came out tonight. A charter aircraft carrying 8 people crashed at a remote site in Western Alaska on Thursday, killing all on board, U.S. military said. The crash happened at Cape Newham long-range radar site airport, approximately 450 miles west of Anchorage, Alaska. Quoting, "This is a devastating loss for our military family and communities we serve," U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General Robert Davis and Commander of Alaskan Command, North Aerospace Defense Command Region and 11th Air Force said in a statement. The radar site is managed by the Pacific Air Force's Regional Support Center. It's a part of the network of remote radar sites that track aircraft operated in Alaska's airspace and along its borders, a statement from the Alaskan Command said. Now, the statement did not provide details on the specific work that individuals were doing and referred to the plane involved as a civilian contracted aircraft. Davis described those on board as dedicated professionals carrying out vital information for mission in a demanding environment. Our absolute priority right now is providing unwavering support to the families, friends, and teammates during this devastating time. We are profoundly grateful for the swift and tireless response our search and recovery professionals.
Man, that is a very sad situation. All right, let's go ahead and move on into dangerous tornadoes in Long Island and Delaware cause severe damage. Now, originally, we gave you guys the initial report that was breaking out of Delaware. Now, we have some updated information just as of 3 hours ago. Also, by the way, we just hit overtime. You know what they say about overtime? No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Send in your freaking money. Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what's going on here.
You're watching live now from Fox. Welcome back. I'm your host, Christine Matino, taking you out to this live look as we've been covering severe weather this morning. This is a live look out of Dover, Delaware, as you can see some tornado damage. But in just a moment here, bringing you out to New York as severe weather swept through the New York City area yesterday.
Damn.
And Long Island was among the hardest hit. This includes a
Look at this shit, dude.
Potential tornado caught on camera in Nassau County. Fox 5 New York's Robert Moses live at Atlantic Beach on Long Island with the latest on the damage. Good morning to you, Robert.
Good morning to you, and we are expecting an update from the county executive here in about 40 or so minutes, and the damage is extensive here at this beach club, the Sun and Surf Beach Club on the banks of the Atlantic. When you see the damage here, it is miraculous that no one sustained any serious injuries. You mentioned that water spout, which is a spinning column of air. It formed off the Long Island coast last night and then came ashore. Sometimes those water spouts stay out over water, but when they move over land like this one did, they can cause some serious damage, and that is what we saw here at the Sun and Surf Beach Club. First responders got here last night. They wanted to make
that shit didn't look so great. I mean, but it's pretty skinny there. The larger they get, the crazier it gets. But man, that's definitely fucked. Look at
damage,
that.
and that is what we saw here at the Sun and Surf Beach Club. First responders got here last night.
Man, it's just going right over them.
Wanted to make sure that no one was trapped under the debris here. According to the local fire marshal, the apparent tornado damaged or destroyed 30 cabanas. One worker suffered a minor injury and refused medical aid. I also want to show you this video. A man named Matthew Stark shot it. He and his family were inside of their cabana here last night, trying to stay out of the rain when this tornado hit. He described to us how he shut the door of the cabana, and then just seconds later, the roof was ripped off.
Fake news, by the way, Mikey. It actually happened about 4 or 5 days ago, just so you know.
The doors blew open, debris fell on them, but luckily neither he nor anyone in his family.
What's up, Fidel? By the way, good morning to you. Great to see you.
Was injured. The beach club here, as well as an adjoining one, will be closed indefinitely because of the damage. And today we're expecting.
Actually, I'm overzealous on my answer. It was like 3 days ago.
The National Weather Service to issue official findings on exactly how strong this apparent tornado was. Likely an EF0 or EF1. That's on the lower end of the scale, but still powerful enough to do some pretty impressive damage. Back to you.
Robert, before I let you go, I know you said we're going to be getting that update here very shortly. What can we expect officials to really touch on, maybe in terms of those recovery efforts?
Well, I would imagine detailing, some of the first responders' actions that they took last night, because they really did want to make sure that no one was trapped inside these cabanas.
But I'm sure that aside from that, that's not really what she was asking about, and he probably just doesn't know. Let's see a little bit more of that damage here, and that just sucks right there as well. But that's all the images that we get from that. Okay, so quickly, we do have Long Island officials speaking on this tornado ordeal as well.
They will be cleaning up today, and then we will be doing a structural inspection of all of the cabanas to make a determination as to whether or not we can reopen any of these cabanas this summer. So, again, it was approximately at 7:11 p.m. I live about 7 blocks away from here. Yesterday morning, I was in the ocean early, and I happened to be swimming in the ocean, and a fin came right by me. I was worried that it might be a shark, and it was lucky that it was a dolphin. So it was a beautiful day yesterday morning. There were about a pod of 20 dolphins out here. And then, of course, we heard that there would be a major weather event at 1:30 p.m. Me and my team were on the phone with the National Weather Service. They indicated that we could get 2.5 to 3 inches of rain, that there would not be a tremendous amount of wind. There would be isolated wind gusts. I specifically asked the Weather Service whether or not there could be any meaningful wind event, and they said, you never know with respect to this kind of storm. So it's not something that you plan for. Tornadoes.
Man, yeah, tornadoes are the worst. I mean, I've actually been through one here since I moved here to northern Alabama, and I mean that's obviously we're in Tornado Alley, and we had one go right over our lake. It was wild. We have video footage of it. It was sick. Anyways, it doesn't sound like we're gonna get extreme. I mean, I'm sure we can get some details out of this, but I'm gonna go ahead and wait on that. I wanted to see on his actual front bit here if we got any other information, but not really. But I'll let him go for another 30 seconds, and then we'll just move on. We got to get into the USS Abraham Lincoln heads back to U.S. amid poor conditions for crew is the headline coming out 2 hours ago. So.
And in this case, it started off over the ocean, worked its way over the land here in Atlantic Beach. And luckily, there were no other tornadoes that popped up here in the region. I was on the phone with the county executive of Suffolk County immediately to let him know that we had an event here so that he could prepare. And I declared an emergency immediately. And we opened our Office of Emergency Management Command Center, which was manned all night. And we are doing.
Well, I came from a place where we lived in, earthquakes in Southern California. And then you, of course, have wildfires. Now, we don't really get wildfires out here like that. It doesn't get as dry over there in California. It's a desert, so it's very, very dry. And it can be the heat can become very dry like that, and it can spark off. Now, here in the South, there's a lot of humidity, so things aren't catching on fire like that. So yeah, I mean, you're just trading off other types of shit. So. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on into this. USS Abraham Lincoln heads back to U.S. amid poor conditions for crew. That's literally the headline. Let's figure out what is being said here.
Welcome back in here to Fox as we're following some breaking news. The USS Abraham Lincoln now heading back to the United States. And this is a post coming in here from Fox News on X.
Real quick, before we continue with this, we got my man Baker, extra surprise, coming in hot, by the way, sends in, because it's converted from him, but he sent in $11 on the Cash App, or actually it's on the PayPal. I very much appreciate that, kind sir. It goes a long way. It definitely adds up, my man. So thank you very much. And by the way, hit that like button, by the way, for all the people that, can't donate or whatever the case. I don't tell you guys you have to, but just hit that like button. That's the one thing I do ask you guys to do. All right, here we go.
CENTCOM releasing a new photo of the USS George Washington as it arrives in the Middle East to replace the USS Abraham Lincoln as tensions continue to flare with Iran. The George Washington carrier strike group arrived Wednesday in the CENTCOM theater, which covers 21 nations in the Middle East, along with Central and South Asia. Now, this all coming here after we first reported yesterday, according to the Associated Press, that the Asia-based USS George Washington aircraft carrier was now operating in the Middle East, and that was according to the U.S. military just yesterday, relieving this long-deployed carrier following reports of mental health challenges and supply shortages aboard while it was supporting the Iran war. U.S. Central Command, which oversees military operations there in the Middle East, said on social media that the carrier arrived in the region on Wednesday. It was not clear when the USS Abraham Lincoln would arrive back in the U.S., but now we are sharing that breaking news here with you that it is now currently heading back to the States. The Washington arrived as concerns have grown about the Lincoln's lengthy deployment, which has included a record-setting uninterrupted time at sea of more than 250 days, and about reports of crew stress and poor mental health, as well as supply shortages, including food and hygiene products. Now, several Democratic lawmakers have pressed the Department of Defense for accountability over conditions aboard the Lincoln, which Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said were completely misrepresented. Hegseth
he declined all that.
spoke with the Lincoln's crew last week and the head of U.S. Central Command visiting this past weekend. In an editorial published on Sunday by the Wall Street Journal, we did hear from them saying that the crew, quote, delivered a performance for the ages, and now you are going home. So this is this breaking news just coming in from Fox News as CENTCOM is sharing this photo of the USS George Washington as it is arriving there in the Middle East to replace the USS Abraham Lincoln as tensions are continuing to flare with Iran. We'll continue.
All right. So the George Washington carrier strike group now has arrived officially on Wednesday, which is, a couple days ago, obviously, but it's breaking now. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for allowing me to do this Monday through Friday. And of course, we have members only on Saturday. Little side note, I got to give you guys, a courtesy. Unfortunately, speaking of members, this is the one time that we're going to have to move a members only show, not tomorrow, but we're talking about September 11th. Unfortunately, I am going to be out of town. I'm going to be in Nashville. We have a big, it's called Word War Debates. And Grid One Motorsports is actually a partner with them, and he's doing his own event in collaboration with the main event. And so anyways, I was invited, and of course, I'm going to go. It's going to be a fucking good time, actually. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, but I didn't complete on that. Sorry. So September 10th, I'm going to do the show. That's a Friday. I'm going to do the show, and then I'm going to leave right after the show and go straight up to Nashville and be a little late for the start of Grid's event. No problem. Then I'm going to spend the night there. That'll be, Friday night going into Saturday. And then unfortunately, I won't be back until Saturday night. So I'll probably have to move the stream to Sunday if I have it within me to do it. But nonetheless, you guys know the deal. I always prioritize you guys in every aspect. So even if I have to bring my own laptop and do a show from the hotel or something like that, or from the Airbnb, whatever, we'll do what we got to do. Anyways, stick around for the raid. We're going to send you guys over to Black Dragon. He's live right now, so make sure you guys let him know we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. Anyways, much love, honor, respect to you guys. God bless you guys, and enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges.